I ask leave of the House to move amendments 1 to 4 on the sheet revised 28 May 2024 as circulated in my name together.
Is leave granted? Call the Assistant Treasurer.
Leave is granted.
Leave is granted. The member for Wentworth may proceed.
I move amendments 1 to 4 on the sheet revised 28 May 2024 as circulated in my name together. Speaker, I am sympathetic to the government's objective of considering the taxation treatment of super, and particularly about balancing the taxation of younger and older Australians more equitably. I note, with real concern, the increasing burden that the taxation system in its current form is placing on younger Australians. I note, for example, that the share of income tax paid by older Australians has gone from 27% of older Australians paying income tax to 17% of older Australians paying income tax in one generation. I note that young Australians are not getting ahead in the way that previous generations did. I note that currently, in the last, from 2004 to 2016, the average wealth of Australians over the age of 65 of their household grew by 50%, while the average wealth of households under the age of 35 did not move. And this change in the distribution of wealth and opportunity between generations does not bode well for our country and does not bode well actually for opportunities that every single one of us want to offer our children. So I do think we need to consider the tax system more broadly, and as I think many in this House know, I have been long an advocate for tax reform, including considering the tax system within the superannuation system. However, I am deeply opposed to the taxation of unrealised gains, and this is why I'm putting forward a number of amendments to discuss about this. And so while I'm open to considering taxing sort of large balances of super, the taxation of unrealised gains I think is extremely problematic. I'm also concerned that the taxation, this increase in tax that the government is proposing, is not being used to actually reduce tax burden, which is what it should be doing, using reduced tax burden on young workers, because that is where that rebalancing should be. So let me explain some of the particular concerns that I have in relation to the taxation of unrealised gains. And the first is on principle, which is, this is not money that anybody has, so why the government should tax it is beyond me. As a principle of taxation, it is extremely problematic. But what I'm also concerned about is how this plays out in practice. And I'm particularly going to focus on the venture and technology sector, because this is a sector that is a big part of my community and is one that I'm really concerned about. So Australia has lower venture, investment in venture than other countries. We have about a third of the rate of investment in young growing firms, so venture capital than the US, and about half the UK. Now, we have a productivity hole. We know we need to grow this, and we know that it is young growing firms that actually drive productivity in this country. So we should be doing everything we can to support these companies. And what my biggest concern with this bill is that around 25% of, according to the Tech Council, of money that goes into venture is out of self-managed super funds. Now, venture is volatile and it is illiquid. And so, therefore, if we are going to be taxing unrealised gains on venture firms, which are both volatile and illiquid, we have a real danger that people in self-managed super funds are just going to move that money out of venture into other, maybe it's the listed index. They are going to miss out from a returns point of view, but we as a country will miss out from a point of view of not having that investment in venture firms, which is absolutely critical to growth and productivity in the future. So that is my major concern with this issue, and I frankly have not seen the evidence that the government has engaged properly with the venture sector and with the technology sector to understand the impact of this legislation on those young and growing firms. I think the government, my amendments cover three elements in relation to this. Firstly, I'm asking, recognising that if you make an investment, there's a very short period of time you're meant to pay this tax on unrealised gains. When, as I've already now noted, that for venture, but also for land and also for farms and businesses, you can't sell them on a dime. And so, therefore, I'm suggesting in one amendment is to ensure that there's a longer period of payment of these, allow the payment of this tax over 5 years. That is a minimum requirement. I think is a reasonable